Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer here on YouTube. Today's video is going to be about the astrological energy for the first week of January 2023. I can't even believe that we're in 2023. 2022 just went by so fast. But before we get started into the first week of January, I really want to go over some of the energy that is following us into this year from 2022. So, to start, we have Mars in retrograde in Gemini, which has been retrograde in Gemini since Halloween, basically. And this has been, messing up our energy and motivation and not allowing us to take action on certain things, and even I find confusion because Gemini rules the minds and our communication, our learning, our speaking, thinking. And I find Mars retrograde in Gemini has been kind of hard to get our articulate our thoughts and words and even like processing information, stuff like that. It's been a little bit of a struggle, but on a positive note, it's been kind of allowing us to slow down a little bit and not move so fast. Gemini is such a fast, quick sign. It's always go, go, go. And with Mars there in retrograde, it's really forcing us to slow down on some of these things. And some other topics that Gemini rules is siblings and extended family and paperwork and local community, neighbors, stuff like that. So some of us have also been having issues in those areas of our life with Mars retrograde and not allowing us to take action or even causing conflict in those areas. So that is some energy we will still have to deal with until January 12th when Mars stations direct. Then we see some light at the end of the tunnel for that, and thank goodness get our motivation back. The next energy I want to talk about is Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. So Mercury stationed retrograde in Capricorn December 29th, 2022, and will be retrograde until January 18th when Mercury stations direct. And so we have that energy for the first half of January. So that's like a double whammy of Mercury energy because Mercury rules Gemini. So this again is our mind, our learning, our communicating. So this is really going to slow us down for our New Year's goals and ambitions because it's probably for a reason. The energy's not there to dive right into whatever it is we want to start for the new year. We're really going to be forced to take the first half of January and just still sit with everything and make sure that we have our ducks in a row, make sure we have all the proper information and that we're communicating properly and stuff like that. One Mercury in retrograde or Mercury retrograde in Capricorn energy is I like to use the example of like if you own a business, a Mercury in Capricorn energy would be having a course. Let's say you have a course that you sell and you want to go back and either add something or take something out of that course. Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is a perfect time to do that. It's literally Capricorn is our foundations. Capricorn is our structures. Capricorn is our responsibilities. So Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is really going to have us looking at those themes and aspects of our life and thinking if there's anything that we need to change or adjust to move forward to start 2023. So it can be a little bit of a challenging energy, but honestly, I really feel good about this one. I really do feel good about this Mercury retrograde. And I know for me, I am a natal Mercury retrograde, and I get the best insights during a Mercury retrograde. So if you have Mercury retrograde natally, this could be a good time for insights, ideas, creativity. Honestly, Mercury, and I journal all of my astrological energy. So it doesn't really matter what sign Mercury retrograde is in. I constantly am always getting like like big insights during a Mercury retrograde. So I thought I would share that because it's really interesting. Another energy I want to talk to you about as well, that's going to follow us into 2023, is the Venus conjunction to Pluto in Capricorn, which happened December 31st. So it went right through New Year's Eve. Now, this is one I personally found challenging. This one, it was like I felt a lot of pressure, like energetic pressure, and like a foggy cloud around like just my direction and wants and needs and joys. It was really strange. And to be completely honest, it wasn't a feeling I would have, I couldn't understand why I was feeling that way. And I was like, oh my God, Venus is conjunct Pluto and it's in Capricorn. Like, I just couldn't get the energy to do much, and it was like really foggy and I didn't know why. So I'm not sure if anyone else felt that way, but if you did, that's possibly why. Now, I also have this touching my moon, which is why it may have affected me that way. It was aspecting my moon, but yeah, I found that one really it was like a little bit challenging for me. So all right, so now let's get into the first week of January 2023. So January 2nd, we have Venus entering Aquarius. So Aquarius is our social groups, friends, people out in the world. This is how we make our great connections, and Venus is all about connections. So I really like this energy with Venus entering Aquarius. This is really highlighting maybe creating new connections, and even like for work. Social media is a huge thing for Aquarius. So if you have an online business or you're looking to make connections online, this energy is really great for that. I really like the Venus entering the Aquarius, and Venus will be there for a few weeks. So that's good. And then January 3rd, we have Venus sextiling Jupiter in Aries. So this one is also really nice because, Jupiter is in Aries, which is nice because it's really giving us that extra energy and oomph for like Aries represents the self. And then we have Venus there, like sextile. Like, so, I looked at this as like some optimistic connections, this extra push to connecting, even like inner work. I have like, I think inner work for the self, because Jupiter is higher learning and wisdom. So this could even be expanding, like, even though Aries doesn't necessarily represent consciousness, it does represent the self. So I do like that energy for that. And then the Venus with the sextile. So this is really, honestly, this is January 3rd is really good for just, making those connections, and good connections, like empowering connections. January 5th, we have the Sun in Capricorn trining Uranus in Taurus. So our Taurus areas of life have really been going through it over the last few years. And I look at this Sun in Capricorn, this trining Uranus, as maybe having some insight or optimism of those areas. Like, we've been worrying about our foundations and confused, and a lot of us have our foundations in life have really been shaken up and really not stable. And Taurus is all about stability. So, I like to look at this sunshine Uranus as maybe some insight or even innovation when it comes to those areas of life. Maybe, yeah, like I really, it's a quick aspect, but it's the sun. And wherever the sun touches, it really sheds light on and brings in happy, optimistic energy. So that's January 5th. And then Friday, January 6th, we have our full moon in Cancer at 16 degrees. This full moon is going to be sextiling Uranus, and the sun will be trining Uranus. So we even have this Uranian energy kind of tied in with this full moon in Cancer, which is interesting because Uranus is sudden, sometimes sudden change, sometimes chaotic change, it's sometimes innovation, it's sometimes it can really shake things up. And Cancer has to do with like our home and our family. And wherever you have Cancer in your personal chart will show you how this will affect you and show up for you individually. But what a full moon energy really brings in is sometimes we can see a culmination point from the new moon. But honestly, how I see it is like a 6-month process. So whenever there is a new moon in a sign, we usually see the results of whatever seeds that we have planted at that full moon when it is in the same sign. So, for example, when we have our new moon in Aquarius on the 21st, when you plant those seeds for whatever you want to start or try or manifest, when we have the full moon in Aquarius in the summertime, you will start seeing those manifestations of those seeds. So I always look at it as like that when it comes to full moons. So if you planted a seed at the new moon we had in Cancer last year, now may be the time you start seeing the results of those seeds that you planted at that new moon in Cancer. So now let's move into January 7th, where we have the Mercury cazimi. Again, more Mercury energy. This is our mind, our thoughts, our expression, our communication. So, during this time, which it only lasts a day or so, Mercury is obviously combust still when it's around the sun. So it depends on your personal individual energy that you have, but this again can really affect our thoughts and communicating and expression. So that's another energy to add on to all those mercurial things that is possibly going to be challenging. And then January 8th, which is Sunday, we have Mercury retrograde trining Uranus. So we have Uranus again. So this first week, there's a lot of Uranus energy. So there could be a lot of shakeup. There could be a lot of sporadic inspiration. We could actually hear some shocking information. We could hear, I really feel like, there's a possibility that by the end of this week, we could hear something really shocking that we're kind of like, what is going on? On a personal note, I see this as insight. I really see this as insight, inspiration, and innovation. Personally, I think this is really good. I think there's not a lot of negative Uranus energy. It's a lot of kind of positive shakeup, if you can see it that way, or optimistically. But so that is my forecast for the first week of January. This is my first forecast, so I know I say not to launch anything or start anything during a Mercury retrograde or Mars retrograde. I'm really doing this to see what kind of feedback I get back on it, so that when I really start launching my videos and everything, I know and I have a solid foundation to start on. So I would love to hear your guys' feedback and what you want to hear. I really think that I want to do my weekly forecasts. I know I didn't mention a lot of moon transits And what I might do is a monthly forecast where I talk about the major transits with the planets, and then my weekly where I talk more about the moon transits. So let me know what you think about that. Let me know if there's also anything else that you would like me to cover. I also have a podcast which I will be launching soon as the energy is right. It's the Taurus Moon podcast. So I will have that on this channel as well, and then plus my Patreon. So I will be posting more, and I want to hear your feedback and what you want from me. And I will have all of my links and all of my information on this channel so you can reach me on all my socials and find me. The first, just give me like 6 to 8 weeks. I'll be just kind of starting and getting my feet on the ground, and then I'll really have a solid foundation. So yeah, I would love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great week.